Is social media colonizing our mind? A couple really interesting Am I the Assholes, and how many people called into the hotline just to tell me they were pooping? We'll find out all that and more today on The Number 2 Show. What's up, you turd burglars, you Cleveland steamers, you shitheels? Hell, I don't know. We're still working out what you're going to be called, but I appreciate you being here and being a fan of The Number 2 Show, and I hope you're enjoying it as much as I am. I'm excited to be here. I just did 4 hours of radio, and I'm ready to do another hour censorship-free here on YouTube streaming platform. And I'm excited to bring you a show today, and we're going to get right down to it because we got started late. And I don't want to prolong the fun any longer than I have to. So let's get started right now today. I got a great show for you. Got a couple of things lined up. But let's start it off with my boy because he's got shit to do. Let's start it off with the segment I like to call 15 Minutes with Riz. All right. Hello, Scott Rizzuto.
Hey, YouTube.
He's here.
Hello. Well rested, huh? Long weekend?
Long weekend, dude. I'm excited.
Good. Loose.
Man, we were loose. We were having what a crazy weekend, too, we had. And, excited. For those of you that don't know, don't watch the show, Scott Rizzuto is the host of the number one radio show, the Rizzuto Show, that I'm also on and podcast. You can download and stream everywhere. And for 15 minutes a day, he comes in here and he volunteers to be my sidekick here on this show. And at the end of 15 minutes, he gets the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Unannounced. So let's enjoy him while he's here, folks.
Timer started.
If you got any questions or you got something that you think might be interesting to me and Riz to talk to us about, call 818-532-1420. That's 818-532-1420 for a good time call. If you got something for me and old Scott Rizzuto you want to talk about that's pertinent and global, not necessarily stuff we talked about on the number one show, because some people that watch this didn't watch that and it won't make sense. So give us a call. We'll be happy to talk to you. Other than that, we're going to just chop it up. We had a wild weekend. I love 3-day weekends, man.
Would you rather have the Friday off first or the Monday off?
You know, it's tough to say because having Friday off is sick because on Thursday you're just like, my weekend starts early, and I feel like Friday's popping. You can always find something cooler to do. There's like also more stuff to do on Thursday nights that you probably wouldn't do on a normal work week. Concerts, shows, if you want to go out. But if it's all about having an extra lounge day, because Monday's like having 2 Sundays, and that's pretty cool too.
Yeah, we went out on Sunday night for dinner. I brought my mom who's in town. And Sunday night, like 8:30 dinner, slam-packed as if it was a Saturday night. I felt like everybody on Sunday was in the Saturday spirit.
Yeah, on Sunday night?
On Sunday night, everybody was in the Saturday spirit because we had Monday off.
Yeah, that makes sense, man. It just seems like everybody just you extend the party out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I had you and your partner over my house on Monday afternoon. We christened my new Blackstone cooktop. It was great. Had a great day.
Yeah, you moved into what I would call a new phase of daddom. When you get the Blackstone griddle top, that is a new phase of fatherdom that you're just moving right along.
Did you see how my kids were like all excited? Gathered around the flat top, like everybody was hanging out outside watching Dad cook.
Yeah, it was exciting. Everyone was excited.
Exciting.
And I know in your head you had like, let's just be honest, and you had your little Clark Griswold moment, like Christmas Vacation when he's daydreaming about the pool, but it was just you out there in a big tall hibachi hat, flipping shrimp into your family's mouth while your kids clapped and told you that they felt like they had the best dad in the whole world.
You're the best dad. It almost was like that.
It was close.
It was close.
Yeah, you made some smash burgers, and I was impressed. I was honored to be there as part of the Blackstone,
Christening.
Yeah, we didn't break a bottle of champagne, but you poured a whole bunch of oil on it.
Yeah, well, maybe I over-oiled things a little bit, but it was the first time.
Yeah. And now you're probably a Blackstone snob at this point. I mean...
Oh, of course I am. Come on.
Now you see people with a regular grill, and you're like, please.
You know, I can make fried rice on this. You can't, because that rice will fall through the slats.
That's right.
Idiots.
Oh, good luck making pancakes on your Weber grill.
Yeah.
You fucking Philistine. You piece of shit.
Yep.
You're going around the neighborhood, tipping people's grills over, watching their charcoal spill all over the ground, and be like,
Blackstone owns the street now.
That's right.
Bitches.
This is a Blackstone street. Like Peaky Blinders.
I'm going to start a club.
The Blackstones?
The Blackstones. That's right. Yeah, gang.
You guys are out it's like the Sharks and the Jets out in the middle of your Wildwood neighborhood on the roundabout.
And they're upper middle class suburbs of St. Louis.
Instead of switchblades, you all got tongs. You tie your hand to another dad's hand, and you tong fight to the death.
Like in the Beat It, like from Beat It from Michael Jackson.
Yeah, but you're just trying to pinch each other's testicles
or nipples.
Yeah, if you twist another dad's nipple off,
that means you win.
You get to sleep with his wife.
Yes.
Hell yeah, dude.
In front of him, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah, and his kids.
Yeah. Oh what?
Let him know.
Let him know who the new dad is.
Yeah, let him know who the new dad is right away, dude. It's not pretty. But you don't close your eyes. I'm the father now. That's pretty cool, man. We had fun. It was nice having a holiday, hanging out, grilling out. Weather's good. I feel like fall has finally come to the United States of America. I hope it sticks around.
Yeah, you know, summer can come rear its ugly head at any point. Any point in the next couple weeks.
It can. I'm not a summer guy. I'm a fall spring man. I like the moderate weather seasons. I don't like the extreme weather seasons. Summer, winter.
I love winter. Let me tell you why. Can you guess why I love winter? Guess why.
Because it gives you an excuse to go nowhere.
That's right.
Is that it?
Yep. I love staying inside.
You do.
And you know, there's a chance for ice and snow. You know, you can't do that with rain.
No.
Ice and snow, I got to stay home. I like my house because all my stuff's there.
Yeah, you've set up a nice little... I think that's part of getting older is you kind of set up a home base. Like when you build a home and you start outfitting it with things you like.
Yeah, I don't need much.
It becomes your little sanctuary, dude, your little castle.
Now that I got my Blackstone, I never need to leave the house.
Yeah, I could see you building a moat around your house at some point.
I would love to.
Just to keep other people away. Just you and the kids and the wife and the Blackstone and a couple of dogs, man.
Yeah, we're good. One self-sustained society.
He's a simple man. I got a lot of people in the chat right now talking about this show I did this weekend, which it's going to be highly talked about on next week's number 2 show, but we'll tease it here. And I'll tell you that I did a show at the 40 Acre Club, Nudist Resort this weekend, and it was amazing. And there's some people in the chat that are members of the resort that are chiming in right now saying they love the show. They had a great time. Thanks for giving us a chance. Hey, man, I had a blast out there. It was a good time. Zane and I went out there with Tina. We talked about it a little bit on the Rizzuto show today, and, you know, I've talked about it to you. I had a great time. They treated me great. And, you know, you get used to people hanging dong pretty quick if everybody's doing it.
You know, I went to Woodstock 99. Rafe,
okay.
And I got up there on the Thursday, and there were women walking around topless. And I was like, yes. I was 21 years old. Yes.
Yeah.
And then by the next day, you're like, yeah, there's still topless women walking around. But it became a little less exciting. And then by Saturday, it was even less exciting. And by Sunday, I was like, ooh, man, put your top on.
Yeah, that's how the Tammy cruise was for me, dude. When I went on the Tammy cruise, I saw so much titty that at some point that it just didn't even register.
You become
to me
desensitized.
You really do. And they were so comfortable and their bodies there, and they made me feel like, you know, they didn't feel weird, so that made it not feel weird.
Yeah, that
you know
makes
what
sense.
I mean?
What a wild experience for you to get to see what that's like out there. It's not, and people got to get out of their minds like it's a sexual thing. No, it's a lifestyle thing. Yeah.
It is, and they, you know, they even told me don't use the term lifestyle when I explain it because I guess lifestyle is code for like swinging.
Okay, so
When you say, hey, you're part of the lifestyle, the nomenclature they didn't like colony because it was too cult-like,
Right.
which I totally understand. Nudist colony. They like the nomenclature resort and club, and that they're promoting the nudist way of living.
way of living. Yes, okay.
And
Great way to put it.
Yeah, so that's great. And I got educated by people, and I had and everyone was so sweet and patient with me, while I was trying to adjust. And I was super grateful for that. And it is kind of wild when you get out there in it, but it was a really interesting place to do a comedy show. And man, they were a good audience. Had a great show. I swore a guy into the pork steak army. When I went out there, I had no intention, not a single intention of taking my trousers off. And man, the night just got the better of me, brother. And I went full wiener out. I went tip to tip with the fella that wanted to get sworn into the pork steak army, which is a running bit that I have here from the #1 show, that I'm captain of the pork steak army and that I could swear people in as long as they're willing to swear allegiance to cook the finest low-cost quality meats on their grill or Blackstones, and that they're willing to admit that David Lee Roth is the one true lead singer of Van Halen. There's only 2 barriers to entry, and like the Nudist resort, the pork steak army is a very no-judgment zone.
Well, and you got swept up in the whole thing.
I
You
did,
got swept up in the whole experience. It was a magical night.
It was.
When in Rome,
Yeah,
they made you feel comfortable enough to take your wiener out.
they did. And I did.
You did.
Now, I said this on the show, and I'll repeat it here. I wish I'd have had some fluff time. I was doing my show for an hour. My jeans were tight. They were smashing my penis down like a, child king on a beanbag throne. I didn't love that. And I took my underwear down and I tried to hook it with my thumb on the way down, give it a quick stretch. But I miscalculated. It was kind of like, you ever played the Top Gun Nintendo game where you tried to refuel the jet?
Yeah.
It's very hard to line that up. It's very difficult.
Do you feel like it wasn't your best showing?
No, it probably wasn't my best showing, but honestly, I didn't care. Everybody out there was all different shapes and sizes. I felt like I was probably middle of the pack somewhere, so I'm happy to blend in. And it was just fun and cool. And at that point, they were so cool. I didn't feel weird to me at all. I felt like I was just letting them know, hey, I'm on board, and I'm saluting you with my penis.
Now, knowing that was a possibility of happening, did you clean yourself up?
No, it was like a rogue. I had a 70s bush going on down there. As I looked around the resort, I'm like, these people are taking good care of themselves because they know they're presenting, and I did not know. It was kind of like a book report I didn't prepare for. It was clearly.
Well,
I was up there just making shit up about To Kill a Mockingbird. Like, I love the part when the wizards came in. Was there wizards in
No,
To Kill
there wasn't. Now, you knew there was a possibility of it. You didn't prepare for that?
I did not think it was going to be a possibility. I literally was like, I might go down to my undies or something, but there's no way I'm going full bush dong balls out at this thing. That's just not how I roll. I'm a never nude. Like I told them, I was born with jean shorts on. But man, something came over me out there, dude. It was like being at Hogwarts. I felt like I was part of the magic.
It's the magic of the 40-acre club out there in Lone Dell, Missouri.
Yep, magic of the 40-acre club and the rhythm of the night got me, dude. Got me like Phantom of the Opera. And I just went for it and had a great time. I tell you what, though, I got us, and I'll talk more about that next week. I've got a whole segment I'm preparing about it, but I want to say special thanks to them. I had a great time. And you guys were great in the interviews, and I can't wait to share that with you guys on next week's #2 show. But right now, I got a caller calling in, wants to talk to me and you before you get out of here.
All right.
So
Got a couple minutes left.
Here we go. Host Room Live. Hey, you're live on 15 Minutes with Riz, with Rafe and Riz. Who am I talking to, and what can we help you with? Or what do you want to chat about?
My name's Barb. I'm glad you guys had a good weekend. I listened to all 3 of the shows.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, we listen to you guys every single day.
Sweet.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, hey, Barb.
Okay, I had a situation. I wanted to see what you guys' opinion was. We went to Denny's, me and my husband. We don't go out to eat very often, so we were, excited about it. We went to the movies. this lady in the booth behind us smelled so bad. And I didn't want to be rude, but we asked the waitress, could we move to another booth? And immediately I felt horrible and was thinking, well, maybe we shouldn't move. You know, I don't want to embarrass her. So we moved to another booth. We were happy with that. A minute or so later, the manager comes up and asks us if we want to move again. Would we mind moving again? And he had told us that the lady comes in twice a day, that he said a table of 9 leave because of it. And it's just a regular thing, and they're not allowed to say anything to her. So I felt bad about it all night. I woke up this morning feeling bad about it. I hope the lady didn't know why we moved, but what would you guys do? Would you have moved?
I think you're okay because, listen, you said you don't go out that often, and when you do go out, you should be able to enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
And that's what my husband said. He goes, no, I want you to enjoy your meal.
Yeah.
But I just feel bad about it.
I know. You're a good person. You have a conscience. This woman obviously has some problems, and it should be on the Denny's, actually, to make, why should everybody be uncomfortable because of one person?
Yeah.
He said that he's corporate and that he's not allowed to say anything to her about her odor.
Yeah.
It smelled like a dead body.
Oh,
Lord.
Oh.
You had dead body, B.O.
I don't need that while I'm eating my moons over my hammy.
I'll be honest with you, Barb. This just happened to me. I went to, and this place is awesome. I went to a place called Hatched here in the city we live in. Great little breakfast brunch place. And a guy came, and we sat at the bar because they had a long wait. So I was like, hey, we'll sit at the bar. We just want to have breakfast. Sat down, ordered our food. Everything smelled delicious. And then this guy plops down next to us. He's a lone soldier. He comes in by himself. He's got his earbuds in. You know, he's clearly like listening to a pod or watching a sports game. And, man, I don't know if he worked out. He stunk. Oh. He stunk like body odor, like he'd worked out. And I'm like, there's got to be some personal accountability. You know, at some point I'm like, hey, man, you got to know you're bringing your stink into an environment that the smell of the place is part of what you're paying for, right? When you go out to have a meal, you're eating. You want to smell the smells of.
He told us.
Say what?
He told us that she comes today, and on the second visit, she sits up at the bar.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong for that. I told Tina while we were sitting at the bar there, getting a whiff of this fella, that I was like, hey, I think I'm going to ask to move down. And we just moved down a few seats. We didn't make it obvious. We just kind of say, hey, you care if we move down there, more in the middle? And the lady, I think the bartender kind of was hip to what was going on. We moved down. No big deal. That guy stayed his stinky butt down at the other end because I was like, hey, man, I'm trying to eat an omelet. I'm not trying to smell your stink.
Yeah.
And I think at some point, personal responsibility has to play into it. So it's nice that you are thinking about it,
right.
but I think you guys did the right thing.
Yeah. Barb seems like a very nice person. I think you're good.
You're good, Barb.
You're good. Enjoy your Grand Slam. Okay. All right. See you later.
Bye,
Barb.
Thank you, guys.
And bye, everybody, on the number 2 show. I'm out.
And the time has come just when we solve the world's BO problem. Riz is out of here. All right. Well, that concludes a segment I like to call 15 Minutes with Riz. We're going to take a quick break for a word from our sponsor, Speed Stick. Cover up that stink, goddammit. Speed Stick. Hey, everybody, we're coming back right now. And we're back. Thank you for that. Thanks for sitting through that 20 minutes of high-dollar ads that I have placed because I am so in demand for ad space. Like, literally, I'm beating off so many offers. I'm beating off so many companies. I'm beating off Lexus. I'm beating off BMW. I'm beating off Rolex. I'm beating off Dolce and Gabbana at the same time. I'm beating them off left and right because they all want to take ads out with this show. And I'm like, no. Only products that I like. That's right. And that's Speed Stick, everybody. Smell like your dad. Speed Stick. Don't try too hard. Speed Stick. No woman would ever quite like this. It's Speed Stick. All right. Well, we're back. We just had 15 minutes with Riz. We just talked about all the companies I'm beating off. And now we're going to do a little segment I like to call the Annals of History.
From the Annals of History.
All right. And speaking of history, I think we're making history right now. There's something I want to talk about today that I found. I tried to get to it last show, and it was too jam-packed with other cool stuff, and I couldn't do it. But there's something that's been on my mind that I'm sure is on the mind of a lot of folks out there. And it's these little things right here. You're probably watching me on one of these right now. I'm watching me on one while I'm doing a show live. Are we addicted to our phones? And is that their intention? We had a good conversation today on another show I'm on about, there was a leak recently about that basically Google and some of these companies, an advertising company had a memo leak that we are, in fact, our phones are listening. And that they're listening when they're in our pocket. And we've all had a situation where we're listening to our phone or we're talking about something and then we pull our phone out and we're like, hey, man, I didn't Google this shit. I didn't Google. I just told my friend, hey, I like ass play. And then all of a sudden you're getting an ad for butt plugs on Instagram or something like that. And you're like, whoa. What's going on with that? I didn't even Google ass play. I just talked about it out loud to a good friend of mine on a fishing trip. And I believe that happens quite often. And basically they're admitting that it happened. And we're so addicted to our phones. It's like, a long time ago when George Orwell wrote 1984, he predicted Big Brother. That would always be watching cameras everywhere. All our moves, our everyday existence would be monitored by some larger entity, whether it be government or it be, and in that he predicted that we would fight, that we would rise up as a society and we would fight this unlawful intrusion into our lives, and he could not have been more wrong. Because instead, what we're actually doing is we've welcomed it with open arms, baby. We love Big Brother. We keep Big Brother in our pocket. We keep Big Brother on the toilet, which I'm grateful for this show. And it's hard. I have a conflicting opinion about that. I'm a performer. I'm an entertainer. I want people to watch what I do. Part of being an entertainer, it's not a narcissistic thing. You need an audience. You're sharing an art, albeit maybe not as highbrow as it could be, but I still think it's art. Comedy is art. I think being able to host a show and have good conversations is an art form. And you can't have that if you don't have an audience to engage with. So I'm grateful that everybody watches. But at the same time, I worry about society. We have completely surrendered ourselves to these things in our pockets. Everybody wants to be an influencer. We're all doing the TikTok dances. We're all making content. We're all sharing stories. We're all trying to curate little pieces of ourselves. Everybody's Instagram page or Twitter page or specifically social media is their own little Merv Griffin show. It's their own little Wheel of Fortune. They're the host. They're the curator. Some people choose to use those platforms to share their lives. Some are very guarded. And it's almost hard to be off the grid at this point without being considered like a Ted Kaczynski weirdo. And I saw something from Bo Burnham, who I feel like has a similar viewpoint as me because YouTube made his career. And I have a lot of respect for Bo. If you haven't seen his special Inside on Netflix, I recommend anybody going and watching that. It really encapsulated how we all felt during the pandemic. But this was something that a speech he was giving. It might be a couple years old. It's when the movie 8th Grade came out. And he was talking about essentially the concept, and I'm going to play the clip for you, is that we used to colonize land. Right? That was when the old spirit of adventure was global colonization, global domination. But we've basically at this point we have claimed and put a flag on every inch of Earth, every square inch of land, and the moon, and we're headed to Mars. And now there's nothing left to colonize. So the new frontier are our minds. Our minds are being colonized by these apps that we spend so much time on every day, and how it's affecting kids who are being born into this world. And it was a very interesting, segment of an interview, and I want to play that for you guys now. So I'm going to pull it up, and I'm going to play it, and then we're going to talk about it a little bit.
What is a phone? what the definition of a phone changes every single day. Like, when's the right age to get a phone? I don't know, because by the time your kid gets to that age, a phone is a completely different thing spiritually. Like I'm saying, these things are like interacting with our souls on a deep level, and that's the problem with the internet, and that's the challenge obviously you guys have with young kids, is that, but it's like, yeah, good luck like having them like, when my kid's 9, he's not going to have an iPhone. Yeah, of course not, because it's going to be plugged into his head or whatever at that point, you know? No, but truly, so like that's the really hard thing, is that, and even with formulating opinions or making art about the internet, by the time you take the time, this is the problem about the internet in general, by the time you take the time that is needed to think about something, to articulate it, it is obsolete. Kids are like walking through this like meta virtual reality world. It's not that they think the world in their phone is real. It's they think the world in the real world is virtual, and that this is actually just like a thing to be seen, and everything I'm doing is actually a performance that can be captured and looked back on at any moment. Yeah. And I'm not just living moments, I'm planning moments to look back on them. I mean, it's very, very strange and like heady.
So let's talk about that part first, and I'll play the rest of the video in a second, but I want to dissect this kind of point by point, because I found it very, very interesting. Basically what he's saying is, and I agree with him, is he's like, we have created a world. I think kids are smarter than we give them credit for, right? I think that kids born into this world, the younger generation, understand that what they're seeing isn't real. They understand that these worlds aren't real, but we've also created a world where value is being distorted into how many followers you have, or being an influencer. You know, when you ask a child sometimes, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? They don't say fireman. They used to say jobs: comedian, fireman, astronaut. You know, I asked a French kid the other day, like, what do you want to be when they grow up? And they said a YouTuber. And I said, well, what do you want to do on YouTube? And they said, what do you mean? You know, it's probably like a 7 or 8-year-old. So there was no translatable skill set that went along with it, other than they just wanted to see themselves here, where you're spending time with me on YouTube. I'm a YouTuber right now. I'm doing the thing. But I'm hosting a talk show live from a toilet that is, for the most part, I'd like to think a heartfelt comedy podcast. It's definitely in the vein of, I talk about real topics. I try to put a fun spin on them, but I'm not afraid to be sincere. That is kind of the brand of this show. It's a heartfelt comedy show live from a shitter. Nah, those things don't go together that well, but at least I know what the hell I'm doing on here. And I think kids, sometimes I worry, you know, they're not enjoying moments like, you know, there were a lot of things that happened to me when I was a kid. That there were learning moments, you know, that they're embarrassing moments of your life. I remember one time on the bus, I had acne and I was using some kind of Clearasil to cover it up, and it was like a tinted skin color beige Clearasil, and a girl saw it on my face and she made fun of me, and I said something stupid like, oh no, that's peanut butter, and she's like, he said he had peanut butter on his face, ah! And people made fun of me for that afternoon, but it was over after that, right? We moved on. You know, I talk about it in my act, I wore a denim duster to school one time, just out of nowhere, didn't warn anybody, just decided I was going to try on a new personality, which I think kids do all the time. And, you know, I learned a lot about fashion and cruelty that day. Yeah, I did. That's fine. Not a big deal. But that moment is frozen in time with me and everybody that was in the gymnasium the day I wore it, right? No one took a picture of me. No one turned me into a meme. Like, the stakes were so much lower now. And now I think kids, you know, we always try to say the narrative of how easy kids have it today. I argue that they have it a lot harder, because I think the stakes are lifetime stakes, you know? Like, if you look at some of the people that became memes, like David After Dentist is just a guy now. That's just a kid. He's probably working at a factory somewhere. And people were like, yes, you, David After Dentist. You have the opportunity to become frozen in time and to be a forever. Everything lives forever on the internet, right? Now, our attention span's not great. That's the one thing that kids have going for them. But they understand that they're walking through a landscape where every moment has the potential to be documented. And a lot of them are planning, and that's kind of what Bo was talking about. They're planning the documentation of their lives. They're not living their lives as much as they're planning the next moment to film, or they're planning the next moment to record, or they're planning the next moment to how can I frame this to be cool, or how can I frame this to gain friends and followers. And it starts to really distort their mentality, where it's not that they think that they're unaware that the internet isn't real, that Instagram's fake, that people are only showing the best parts of themselves, or that TikTok is fake, or that everything is, every news story you read, they understand there's no credibility on the internet. I don't think kids are dumb. I think they get that. The problem is they think that it's like that out here too. They think that the point Bo is making is like, kids believe that it's all bullshit. The internet's bullshit. TikTok's bullshit. Instagram's bullshit. Twitter's bullshit. But guess what? Home's bullshit. Out in the yard's bullshit. Going to school every day is bullshit, because all our society has become infused with the internet. And he's right. It's the whole Orwellian thing I talked about earlier. It was, as soon as they start offering chips in the head, there's going to be a line. As soon as they got the iPhone 20 chip that you put in your temple, there'll be a line around the corner at the Mac store for people to get it. I do not think people will be resistant to it. I think people can't wait till they can project a holographic image out of their left eyeball and be like, look at what I saw on TikTok today. And they just project the image right out in front of them for everybody to see, like R2-D2, Princess Leia, or whatever. Who knows what the future's going to be. But I think we've kind of created a dangerous world for the kids to live in. And we need to have some empathy for kids, man, that they're trying to navigate this world. Now, I want to go on and play some more of the video, and then we'll chat about the next point he makes.
They're coming for every second of your life. That's what these companies are coming to. This company as well. And it's not because anyone is bad. It's not because anyone in this company has evil plans or is trying to do this. They're not even doing it consciously. It's because these companies like Twitter and YouTube and Instagram and everything, they went public and they went to shareholders. So they have to grow. Their entire models are based off of growth. They cannot stay stagnant. Twitter grossed $4-5 billion last year. It is in the red. It is unprofitable. It has to get more of you. That could be the ceiling for a place like this. YouTube, the ceiling could be 3 hours of engagement. No matter how nice it's trying to be, it is all that they're trying to get more engagement from you. We used to colonize land. That was the thing you could expand into, and that's where money was to be made. We colonized the entire earth. There was no other place for the businesses and capitalism to expand into, and then they realized human attention. That they are now trying to colonize every minute of your life. That is what these people are trying to do. Every single free moment you have is a moment you could be looking at your phone, and they could be gathering information to target ads at you.
So, point number 2, talked about it a little bit up top, but man, I really believe that this is true too. We have created a world where your mind is the new frontier, and they want to colonize every second they can. That's dollars. Well, they're selling your information to advertisers, and he's right. The minute that these companies, what's the old adage? If something's free, you're the product, right? Instagram's free. You can create. TikTok's free. Twitter's free, unless you're an asshole and pay Elon $8 to be able to type 4 extra sentences or whatever. But for the moment, you could still, there's a free version. Facebook's free. All of these free services has to be making money somehow to provide the service, and they're making money off of you. And they're making money off your kids, right? They're colonizing your kids' minds young. They're getting in early. And some of the things that they're colonizing you with, we talked about this a little bit today on a different show, but you think about all the pharmaceutical ads that you get fed to you. We're the only country in the world that allows, besides New Zealand, that allows pharmaceutical advertising. You usually have to go to your doctor and ask your doctor, what's wrong with you? And then he prescribes a medicine or she prescribes a medicine. That was very sexist of me to say he first. I apologize for that. They prescribe a medicine. Progressive. Anyway, you go to your doctor, you tell him what's wrong. You're like, hey, doctor, my balls hurt. And he's like, oh, there's a pill called Ballziac. It actually helps with that. Make your balls stop hurting. You're like, oh, thank you, doctor. I didn't know Ballziac existed. That's how it goes in most countries. Here, that's not how it goes. Here, there's like a guy in a bathtub holding hands with a hot older lady carrying flowers, walking through a wheat field, and all of a sudden it's like, do your balls hurt? Do you have an aching pain in one testicle? Does one hang lower than the other? You might have chronic ball fatigue. And if you do, ask your doctor if Ballziac is right for you. Well, guess what? May cause explosive diarrhea, your rectum turn inside out, night blindness, and also turn you gay. Which is totally fine. All of those things by themselves sound like a fun time, but the problem with that is we have succumbed to the advertisers. It's not the Big Brother landscape that I talked about earlier from 1984. The George Orwell fantasy sci-fi novel about 1984 was that it would be government. Big Brother would be government overreach. And there's a little bit of that. There's government drones and things like that. Government, let's not forget, don't get me started on some of the things we slid through in 9/11 for them to be able to tap your phones. But for the most part, it's not government. It is advertisers. The reasons we can show pharmaceutical commercials in the United States is because some pharmaceutical company put up a fuck ton of money to lobby a senator by your representatives to get these things passed. And to boot, if the FDA cannot pre-screen pharmaceutical commercials. So when that Ballziac commercial comes out and wants to ask about your aching balls and talk about your explosive gay diarrhea, guess what? The FDA doesn't even get to screen it before it goes on. They can put up anything they want. Now, that got passed in Congress. Now, how the fuck did that hit the table if Big Pharma's not putting up some big dough? And that's just one example to me of advertisers and money. The new frontier used to be wealthy landowners used to be the upper crust, the elitist part of our society. Now it's brain owners. It's mind owners. The people who own your mind are the people in charge. Jeff Bezos, he doesn't own a ton of land, but he owns your fucking head. Because we're all up in Amazon. He knows all your shopping habits, right? And he keeps track of that stuff. And you're constantly being fed links to Amazon. It's easy. It's convenient. He knows your address. He sends people to your house. Like, he knows everything about you, what your proclivities are, your past orders, when it's time to reorder your coffee. And it's convenient as hell, but there's cost. And I worry about that with our kids, and that's kind of the point Bo is making. And I'll get back to this video for him to make his third point, but it's like they are literally, do you think that they are colonizing our minds? Is that what's next? Soon, are we just going to plug? Are we going to voluntarily? The Matrix was all about unplugging and living in the real world. But there were people in there that wanted to be in the Matrix. And I feel like half of our society just wants to be in it. Like, if you found out today you're in the Matrix and you could get out, but you had to wear them dirty, stinky clothes on the spaceship, I think a lot of people would just stay in and be like, I'll just kick it in here. Chick-fil-A is pretty awesome, and I'll just stay. And I'll enjoy that Chick-fil-A pickle brine sandwich, even though it's not real. And it's pretty wild. It's a pretty wild landscape when I think about, I'm old enough to remember when it didn't exist. I've seen the internet, the dawn of the internet. I'm old enough to remember I'm one of these Oregon Trail kids that grew up I had a childhood with a landline and no cell phone. I didn't get a cell phone until I was out of high school. That world doesn't exist anymore, man. Like, if you don't get your kid a cell phone, you're basically making your kid your kid might as well be going to school in homemade shoes and be like, I harvested this honey myself. Like, it's not good socially. You're put in a bad spot. He's like, I made the buckles on my shoes out of old bottle caps. Like, okay, nobody talked to Francis. He's a fucking weirdo. He doesn't have a phone. He's making his own shoes out of bottle caps. When Francis is really a cool kid and he's learning a trade, which is valuable, that's just not how it's viewed in today's society. So let's play the rest of this. We'll get to it.
It's what's happening. So, like, as much as we can, as have really good conversations and try to humanize the conversations, the mechanism of the business is rolling towards that just because of the market. So, it's coming. It's coming for every free second you have. These content creators are wrestling with these difficult questions of the sort of weird meta like hellscape that it is to be online. It's weird and it's complicated, and the kids know it and they sense it. That's why their memes are all ironic and detached and self-referential and 12 layers deep, because truth is completely dead to them and they know it. They look at the president, they look at the culture, they go, what the hell is this? They look at like Coca-Cola commercials that are winking at them and smiling, and they go like, forget it, you know? So like, ugh, I have no idea what's gonna happen.
Yeah, so that's the third point I want to address, and I addressed it a little bit up top, is like kids today are at a point where, man, I just think what would it be like to be like 14 right now and have been raised on the internet where you were watching YouTube videos when you were 3 years old? Because kids come out now. I've seen babies that know how to, like, they can't say the word yellow. They're like, lalo, but they know how to get on YouTube and watch a video they want to watch. It's almost become an innate part of childhood. And like he's saying, the kids, I'm Gen Xer too. Irony was our thing. A detached irony was the reason we could stay out of the generational wars, because how do you get into a fight with somebody whose big thing is we don't give a shit? And that was at the dawn of the internet, you know. And now we're seeing that come back around with kids to a point that they look at the world around them and they're like, we have, you know, and this isn't a political statement on my part, you know, we have our last president before this one was like a celebrity show host. And he might be president again here in a little bit. And I don't care who you voted for. I don't want to get into that on this show. I'm just saying, like, the world is becoming a mirror of what we see online. Like, is art imitating life or is life imitating art? And as a kid, I wouldn't fucking know anymore. And they were saying, you know, the point he's making is that, like, some of their comedy and their memes are all this horrible detached irony. It's making fun of everything because to them nothing is real. And I worry sometimes about what effect that's going to have on our society. And, you know, I don't know. Once shareholders got involved, kind of like the point that Bo made, and I would encourage anyone to go watch this whole interview. It was very, very fascinating. Once that takes hold and profits are driving everything, and, you know, is this late stage capitalism about to fold in on itself and destroy society, or is it not a big deal and it'll just be one of those things that, like, hey man, everybody said this about the television set too, Satan's box. They said the TV was Satan's box and we all love TV and it didn't hurt anybody. Maybe. We'll have to wait and see. But I do worry about the effect that it might have on kids. And, you know, I could do with a fewer Ballziac commercials. That's all I'm saying, guys. So let me know what you think in the comments, or if you've seen this, or if you've experienced this with your own kids. I'm interested about that. Other than that, that's the end of the segment. We're going to take a quick break from one of our sponsors, Warped Reality. That's right. Warped Reality. Nobody knows what's real anymore. Go to warpedreality.com. Hey, we're back. Or are we? Is any of this real? warpedreality.com. Let's get to a little segment. Let's keep the show rolling. That was a nice little deep discussion we just had. That was one where we wrestled out quite the growler there together, didn't we? Yeah, I'm going to pull that Ballziac thing, probably make a clip out of it. But other than that, it was pretty fucking. I went deep, brother. I went deep into it. I felt like George Norrie was here for a second. My hero. I felt like I was doing I felt like I put a tinfoil hat on and went crazy up in here. But I digress. Let's get to a segment I like to call Tank Talk. All right. This is a segment called Tank Talks. Call 818-532-1420 if you want to chat it up. If you got something that you think is useful or fun to talk about. I've got some recorded messages that are pretty funny and pretty interesting ones, and I got some emails to address. And I appreciate everybody that engages with the show. And you can call this number anytime, 818-532-1420. It's a 24-hour Papa Squat hotline, baby. You can leave me a message at all hours of the night. Anything you want to talk about, any questions, comments, concerns, things that are bugging you in this world, leave a message, and I might talk about it on the show if it's interesting. And then some of you just call and let me know that you're pooping, and that's cool too. Like, I like updates from your life, and I like that you're thinking of me while you're on the toilet. I can't do a show from the toilet and then be mad if I'm popping in people's brains while they're squeezing one out. So feel free to keep giving me those too, but also throw me a topic every now and then, not just an update on whether you're pushing one out. Let's see. I'm going through the comments here on some of the stuff we were just talking about. I got a couple good comments about, we just got done talking about kids and warped reality and being on, basically that their minds are being colonized by all the apps and advertisers like Instagram and YouTube and whatnot. And I understand the irony that I'm talking to you right now via YouTube, but still got to talk about these things. It's responsible media literacy. It's an important thing that I think a lot of people lack. Someone said they were just having the conversation this weekend. Life for our kids these days is nothing like it was for us growing up. Shit follows you forever now, which I agree. I completely agree. I talked about that. Someone says they stress themselves out daily worrying about their kids and about these topics. And it helps to know that they're not completely crazy. Brittany, you are not completely crazy. I think about it all the time. And my kid's grown, but I think about it for my grandkids and every kid, really. Some people asking if they think that this mental colonization attributes to the rise of ADHD, anxiety problems. I'm sure it does. I couldn't imagine that some of those things, when the stakes are that high for kids and they're worried about like not only getting made fun of at school or getting bullied, but getting bullied and getting it put on the internet for everyone to see on World Star, like that's, the stakes are higher for them. And I am sure that attributes to higher anxiety. So moving on, no more callers, but I do have some messages. So let's get to those. Some of my wonderful voicemails. What do I have here? Oh, here we go. I got one early this morning, and I want to play that. I haven't heard it yet. All it says is, "Am I the asshole? Wedding drama." So let's play that and see what's going on.
My name is Todd, and I got a question for you. It's a kind of the "am I the a-hole" scenario. So my brother Bill is getting married here soon, and he made me and my brother Alex best men together, like co-best men. So both of us are best men for Bill's wedding. Well, last month was Bill's bachelor party, big ordeal, whatever. And like a week before the party, Alex texts both me and Bill, and he's like, "Hey, I can't go to the party anymore." We're like, "Dude, it's a week out. You paid all this, whatever. Why aren't you coming anymore?" And he's like, "Well, something came up." Well, after prodding and poking around, we found out that Alex's girlfriend was upset that she was not invited to the bride-to-be's bachelorette party. And she didn't know the bride-to-be all that well. So it's like, the bride-to-be's like, okay, whatever, like, it's my party. I get to invite who I want. I don't really know her that well. She's not really married into our family. Not a big deal, right? But she was so upset, she took away Alex's girlfriend, took away one of the co-best men from Bill's bachelor party. Whatever, sucks. It's not the end of the world. But now they're prodding around. Alex's girlfriend is really upset. She wants an apology. And, are we the assholes for not wanting to apologize? Like, I'm sorry your feelings were hurt, but it wasn't your party. Like, it just doesn't, it's a weird situation. Okay. And does not help because Alex keeps throwing around, he's all upset trying to force an apology. And he's like, "Well, as your co-best man," and it's like, well, you haven't really done anything to help. You weren't even at the bachelor party. So am I an asshole for not wanting to include Alex in a speech at the wedding because of his behavior and because his girlfriend's getting in the way of all this? Let me know, Rafe. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Todd. Wow. Really took it up to that 3-minute threshold, didn't he? But that's what I like. That's why it's there. Sometimes it takes a minute to get to the fucking point. Todd took a turn there at the end. I didn't know you were going to expel Alex as your co-best man. So, and Zane, I'm looking to you since you're my only audience member in here. The way I understood it, it's this guy's wedding, Todd. He has two co-best men. Alex is one of them. Alex's girlfriend, not invited to his, not super close, not invited to the bachelorette party. She throws a fit over that. She pulls Alex from the batch party. Now he's like, all right, fuck that. You ain't giving a speech, and I'm not apologizing to your bitchy girlfriend. Okay, I'm on point with that. All right, because I'll be honest. I started daydreaming about halfway through that message, and I was thinking about a sandwich for only for 15 seconds. Only for 15 seconds, but I felt like I could have missed a key piece of information. That's something I'm working on about me, is that right around lunchtime, I do think about sandwiches very often, and it's fucked up, and I'm a bad guy for that. In my opinion, this is tough, man. I don't know how good of friends Alex is. I didn't catch if this was your brother or if this was your cousin. Like, what's your relation to this person? It's your wedding. I thought you might have said he was your brother. Now you're treading on some, let's just assume it's your brother. Let's just assume that it is your brother, or it's a friend that you feel like a brother about. I think taking away the opportunity, if you loved him enough to make him your co-best man at your wedding, there's this one thing in the grand scope of your relationship with this person who you apparently loved enough to give him one of the most important roles in your life, which was to be the best man at your wedding, at least co-best man. Is it worth stripping him of all his ranks and duties just because maybe he's being blinded by trying to keep the peace? Is he going to be with this girl forever? Let's hope not. I've had some friends be with girls that our entire friend group are like, ugh, man, Krista sucks. And you just can't say it until they break up. And then you're like, yeah, man, she sucked. And then they're like, why didn't you tell me? I'm like, because you wouldn't listen. Because when you're in love and you're in the throes of it, you're blind. You got the rose-colored glasses on. You're getting good sex and things are going good and you don't know her like I know her, man. But your whole friend group's like, man, she fucking sucks. And it sounds like this girl sucks. Just based on what you told me. Now, there may be some things missing contextually from this. There's two sides to every story. What's the old Willie Nelson song say? Life's too long to worry. It's too short to cry. It's too deep to measure. And it's 2 stories wide. Put that on a postcard. What? Willie, 2 stories wide. But I'm going to assume that you're telling Todd, Alex, and the groom are brothers. Rafe, LOL. Thank you, Brianna, in the chat for setting me straight. So they're all brothers. So the groom, so Todd and Alex are the 2 co-best men, it sounds like. All right, now I'm getting down to it. So this is a brother thing. Now I got 2 brothers, so I can relate to this on a subatomic level. I would not kick my brother out of my wedding just because he's dating a girl who's a handful. I think that that's an overreact on your part. Now, I also don't think you're an asshole for not wanting to apologize to the girl. It's your wedding. It's your day. It's your bride. It's your brother's bride-to-be day. Now, I don't know who your brother's marrying either. Maybe now, was this like a thing like she doesn't like her and she did this to exclude her? You said in the thing they didn't know each other very well. So I'm going to take you at your word that she's like, oh, this is like a new girlfriend. Don't really know her. I think it would have been nice to invite her it is your brother. If it's your brother's person they're dating, it seems like the move is to invite him, even if you're not close. Let him turn you down. Let him invite him, and most likely they'll be like, oh, I got something going on or whatever. But that didn't happen. So I think both people were in the wrong. I think she shouldn't have made a big deal out of it because it's not her day. It's somebody else's day. Just sit on it. Get over it. Move on with your life. But if that can't be done, I definitely don't think you owe her an apology. If it was really just a case of, hey, I don't know you that well. This bachelorette party's been planned for a while. It's my best friends from high school. It's people I've been friends with for 20 years. It's a small group of people. You don't owe it to anybody to invite people. There's a sense of entitlement in the world right now that really bugs the shit out of me. We were talking about it earlier, like somebody got mad because a coworker didn't want to buy him a gift on their baby registry. Why are you? Same thing. Why are you having a baby your coworker's problem? That I didn't knock somebody up. Now, if you're my friend, I'll seek you out and I will find your registry and I'll buy you a gift. It's the same thing here. Like, there's no entitlement to be invited to anything. The easiest thing to do is be like, hey, she didn't invite me. Sucks. Hurt my feelings. But you know what? I don't know her that well. I'll lead with kindness. Maybe I'll get to know her at the wedding, and like maybe she'll regret not inviting me one day because she'll be like, oh, I should have invited you. We became good friends. So if this person's gut reaction was to just be shitty and demand, the demanding an apology part is the big red flag to me. I understand her getting mad. I understand her telling her boyfriend, Alex, this really upset me. It hurts my feelings. I would like to go on the bachelor party. I feel like I'm one of the spouses. I'm one of the girlfriends of the brothers. I should have got to go. And him relaying that information to you is one thing. Her demanding an apology is a complete different thing. And I say, fuck that. You don't owe her an apology. I think if you wanted to do it, be the bigger man, go to her and say, hey, I'm sorry that your feelings got hurt. We didn't think you'd want to go. It wasn't anything personal. I apologize. If that makes your life easier. Now, I will say this. I think your brother was a fucking cuck for not going to the bachelor party. I will say that. Sorry, Todd's brother. Sorry, Alex. You got cucked, my man. There is no fucking way on God's green earth that I'm not going to my brother's bachelor party because a girl I'm dating told me I couldn't go. That's not an alpha male. That is not toxic masculinity. That is straight up family, brother. That is blood is thicker than water. That is family business. She would get over it. I'd be like, well, I'm going for sure. And you can just get over it. I don't care how long we've been dating. There is no fathomable way you're going to tell me that I can't go to my brother's bachelor party. So I will say super cuck move on your brother's part. Not cool. But you don't have to cuck him twice by taking his speech away. He already cucked himself. So let him give his speech, man, and be like, I think that's the, to me, if you don't want to give the apology to her, next best thing you can do, let your brother give the speech. That's meeting in the middle, and I think that's what life's all about. So I say, let your brother give the speech. Don't apologize to her. Let her sit in a corner and be mad while you guys do the chicken dance. Let her sit over there and be like, can we leave or what? And that's fine. If that's how she wants to be at your wedding, she's missing out on a cash bar or an open bar. She's missing out on probably an electric slide. I don't know what you got going on at your wedding. DJ, live band, who knows? Hopefully a live band, way cooler. But I don't think you're an asshole. I do think you could take the high road if you wanted to, but you don't have to. So that's my consensus on that. All right, let's see what else we got in here. We don't have anybody calling in, do we? Let me check the phone lines. 818-532-1420, but you better call quick because we're about to wrap this segment up here pretty soon. 818-532-1420 if you do want to chat about something, hopefully number 2 show related. If you have a stupiracy question, please don't call in. Love the show. Go listen to the podcast. Love it. If it's a Rizzuto show question, also love that podcast. But I don't really want to answer questions about the Riz show. This is an independent entity that I want to talk about stuff that we've talked about here today or just crazy shit. All right. Here's one. This is more of a preview message. So on the after I just said that, I have to reference this. On the other show, on the Rizzuto show, the other podcast I do, we had a guy call in. We had a situation, if you will, and I'm going to give you the quick backstory on that, and then I'm going to play this message, and I'm going to issue a challenge for the next number 2 show. Okay? Oh my God, guys! First ever doo-doo challenge being issued here today. This is a monumental moment. This is a huge moment. This is like when you poop a huge turd and you wish you wish it was socially okay to have someone come and look at it because you're so proud of the work you've done. That's what this is. So there was a fella named Jeremy. All right. And I'm going to give you the quick backstory on this. Okay. There's a group. I'm sure every city has this group. I live in St. Louis, Missouri. There's a group called Moms Looking Out for Other Moms. That's not what it's called, but that's pretty much what it is. All right. And it's basically let you know if your man's is cheating. Let you know if your man's is out there trying to double dip. Let you know if your man's is out there spreading it around, trying to be a roving male, if you will. And there was a message that said, hey, if you were at this pool party on Saturday night and your husband's name is Jeremy and you have 2 kids and you were there on a church retreat, your husband handed me a piece of paper with his phone number and he said, let's keep this between us. And boy, did Jeremy get drug on that thread. Jeremy got dragged for being a little loose boy, a little naughty boy, a little no good Henry. Well, Jeremy called in. And this is Jeremy's message to me.
Hey, got some cup of tea for you guys. Yeah, I guess I don't know where to begin. All I know is that I caught wind that I on the Rizzuto show, they called, or they didn't call anybody. They talked to somebody about, I don't fucking know. I don't know where to start. Basically, I gave my number to some chick at a swimming pool party, and she blasted me on Facebook. And I caught wind, someone told me about it, and I caught wind that the Rizzuto show talked about it online. So trying to touch base with them and give them a follow-up because they had more questions for everything. So if you want to, give me a call. My name is Jeremy, 314-937-1078. 314-937-1078.
Sorry, that was me live editing that guy's number. So you guys don't all call him. Even though that would be funny as hell. For a good time, call Jeremy at 818-314. So, the Jeremy called in. He caught wind. Now, I'll tell you this. I'm not going to cast judgment yet. I'm going to let the gavel hang in the air. Here on the Poople's Court, all right? This is the Poople's Court. Plaintiff. That's right. I'm going to let the bailiff. This is my bailiff on the Poople's Court, all right? Bailiff, I now call Jeremy to the stand. All right. And we're going to for right now, Jeremy, before I drop the poop gavel on you, I want to give you an opportunity to call into the number 2 show and talk to me. Or you can call in and we can have a conversation off camera and we can air it later. But I would love to hear your side of the story. Now, I'm not dropping the poop gavel on you, Jeremy, because, like I said earlier, what did Willie Nelson say? Life's too long to measure. It's too short to cry. Oh, wait. It's too long to worry. It's too short to cry. It's too deep to measure, and it's 2 stories wide. And we haven't heard your story yet, Jeremy. But I will tell you this. Saying you gave some chick my number at the pool. She's being a total fucking bitch right now. The general tone of your message didn't sound like you're going to win a lot of people over. But I could be wrong, dude. I could be wrong. I get it. Your name has been besmirched. Maybe you were angry when you called in. Maybe you had a couple White Claws in you. I don't know. But I'd like to talk to you. So, Jeremy, if you're out there, if anybody knows Jeremy, go ahead and call into the show. And then if you don't, I will just give your number out live on air. So, sorry, dude. It's all about content. It's all about owning your mind. We talked about that today. But anyway, Jeremy, for real, I will be fair to you, Jeremy. I want to actually hear your side of the story. We might find out Jeremy doesn't have a wife and kids and that he's getting drugged through the mud for no reason. We might find out he's in an open relationship. His wife's cool with it. We don't know these things. A lot of ins and outs, a lot of what have yous, and I don't want to drag Jeremy too hard. So, for right now, we got a cliffhanger. We got a little dingleberry just hanging out there for the next podcast because I want to see if old Jeremy will give me a buzz or not. And if he doesn't, well, I don't know. I guess I'll call him or I'll give his number out live on the air. We'll see. All right, let's do one more quick one. Oh, Lord. Here we go. Let's play this one. This is from one of my favorite callers. He always brightens my day. He really does. This guy called in before. He's one of the, I got to be honest, he's quickly becoming one of my favorite fans. Live from Kentucky. Here he is, everybody.
Hey, Ray. Just wanted to ask you a quick question there, bub. Have you ever mudjacked while on the road for one of your gigs? Or hell, driving home to visit family? A mudjack is when you're sitting in the driver's seat of your vehicle and you shit and it jacks you up off the seat, maybe a half inch to 3/4. Just let me know, buddy. Love ya!
What? The fuck was that, man? No. To answer that question, no. I've never shit myself so hard that I jacked myself up several inches off of the seat I was on. And if you're doing that, man, I got to be honest, I don't think that's a thing. I think that's a thing you made up. If you're out there driving over the road and you're hauling stuff and you're shitting yourself taller, that's a you problem, my man. That wasn't the guy, was it? I was thinking that was the guy. Who's my Kentucky boy? Is that the prison one? All right, we're going to get a bonus one because this guy is actually my favorite caller. I had him mislabeled. The mudjacker guy, he's probably killing hookers. He seems like a nice guy. He's a fan of the show. I love you. Thanks for calling in. Let me know what mudjacking is. But this is the one I wanted to play. This is the guy from Kentucky that I love.
Hey, this is Jake, the snake farmer from West Kentucky.
Yeah.
What's up, shitheads? I was taking a shit the other day and remembered an old story. So you got to take an old prison shit where 1 foot is out of the pants in case somebody comes in on you. Because I did 5 years for growing marijuana. Come to find out, my property line is not where the guy said it was. Anyway, have a good day.
And that's scene. What a guy, dude. I love Jake the Snake Farmer. This is Jake from Snake Farm. It's Jake from Snake Farm. Who are you talking to? It's Jake from Snake Farm. What are you wearing, Jake from Snake Farm? Well, I'm wearing I'd say it's a 12-foot long boa constrictor, and I got him around my neck, and then around my leg, I got myself a ball python. And anyway, this is Jake from Snake Farm. And listen, Jake from Snake Farm, you're a cool fucking dude. I got to tell you, man, I look forward to your calls. Such a sweet guy. But I have heard of the prison shit. This was also a military shit. Sometimes people would prank you on the toilet. I get the concept. You keep 1 foot out of your pants because you might have to stand up and fight and defend yourself at some point. That makes sense to me. I have heard of this concept before. I don't think it applies only to prison, but apparently it does. And that's good to know in case anybody out there that's listening is about to go to prison. Maybe you got a court date coming up. Maybe you've had a few DUIs. You don't know how this one's going to go. At least you know when you get in there, when you take a shit in prison, you take 1 foot out of your pants. Because the last thing you want is to be caught on the toilet, pants around your ankles, you stand up to defend yourself, and now you home alone yourself, dude. You're going to take a tumble. You're going face down, ass up, pants around your ankles, and you're 1 step away from being hogtied. You don't want that. So pull your foot out of your jeans or I'm assuming your scrubs or whatever they give you in prison. Kick off your little orange crock and be ready to defend yourself. Thank you for that, Jake from Snake Farm. That's good information. Now, let's move on to the second part. You did 5 years in prison. And, Jake, I'd like to talk to you about this. It sounds like you grew weed on someone else's property, judging by the message you just left me. It sounds like you, trying to be an entrepreneur, you tried to buy some acreage, you tried to plant a little bit of the sticky icky, the forefathers hemp, the devil's lettuce, and you ended up growing it on your neighbor's property, which is a fucking hilarious story, except for the fact that you did 5 years in prison because you didn't have your land surveyed before you decided to grow illegal pot. That's a very Kentucky thing to do, Jake from Snake Farm. And, buddy, I hate that for you, man, because I feel like weed's not a big deal. I hate that you had to do 5 years on that charge. And what a whoopsie, you know? Sometimes it's like, silly me, I put up a fence and it's 1 foot into my neighbor's yard and he's making me move it. And you're like, no, I planted like 800 pot plants on a federal nature reserve because I thought it was my property. It's like, what the fuck, dude? Maybe before you start a criminal enterprise, I'd say err on the side of not growing it right up to your property line anyway. Like, what were you going to grow weed right up to the line as if the person who owned the property next to you never looked to the right? Like someone walking the woods is like, well, whatever's going on 3 feet that way is none of my goddamn business. I would think that you would leave a half-acre perimeter around your illegal pot business so that people wouldn't be able to see what you're up to. But, Jake, I get it. You're busy running a snake farm, buddy. You got a lot going on. And you wanted to maximize your crop yield, so you planted pot plants right up to your property line and onto the neighbor's property. And I'll tell you what, buddy, honest mistake. Sorry that you had to do 5 years and learn about, I don't know, I'm scared to ask how you found out the lesson about taking your pants off as a prison shit. I hope that someone just passed that knowledge on to you and that you didn't learn that the hard way. But if you did, buddy, I just want you to know I still love you. I'm sorry you had that experience, and thanks for calling in, Jake from Snake Farm. And, guys, that's going to conclude this segment of Tank Talks, and I'll be back to wrap this bitch up after a word from our sponsors, Prison Shits. That's right. Go to prisonshits.com and learn how to take one leg out of your pant leg to stop yourself from getting the shit beat out of you by other inmates. And we are back. What a show. Wow. We really dove into some stuff. We talked about Blackstones. We talked about my show at a nudist resort, which we'll get into more next week. We talked about whether or not we were getting our minds colonized by social media. Went deep on that, and that was a fun conversation to have. And we got into a little bit of a Am I the Asshole situation and took a couple phone calls and addressed a few messages in our Tank Talk segment. A lot of good information floating around out there. No pun intended. I had a fun time today. I hope you had a fun time today. Look, I don't know where you're consuming this at. Maybe it's YouTube. Maybe it's Spotify. I like Spotify because it plays the video concurrent with the podcast, so you can watch or listen, your choice. I like when people watch on YouTube. I enjoy engaging with you guys. But whatever you're doing, I know that it's cliche, but I got to ask you, if you enjoy the show, which I would assume if you're still listening at this point, you're enjoying it, be sure to like and subscribe and share with other people and leave a positive review and positive comments, specifically on Spotify and Apple or wherever you listen to your podcast. Spotify has a new thing where you can comment on the episode that you're listening to, just like YouTube. And it'd be great if you put some positive comments. Tell me that you had a good time. Tell me that you're having fun, whatever. Leave a good review. It might help other people find the podcast, because my podcast is concept over content, right? The concept is we're on a toilet. We're talking to you live from a toilet. It's a talk show live from a toilet, and things are crazy. I'm not doing true crime here. I'm not doing a health and wellness podcast. I'm doing whatever the hell I feel like doing. It's just a talk show, and we'll talk about what I want to talk about. So it helps me, and it'll help people find it as a comedy podcast and a fun podcast and a little bit eclectic audience if you like and subscribe and share. So I appreciate it. I know it's annoying when people ask you to do that. You're like, I'm already listening, man. Don't give me another job to do. And I get that. But if you have the time, I'd appreciate it. I consider it a personal favor on my daughter's wedding day. So just do it. And if you don't want to, that's fine. Don't. And if you're not enjoying the show, what the fuck are you even still watching for? I don't know. Stop right now. Turn me off. You have the freedom. Don't let me colonize your mind. You don't want me in there. And make sure and leave a comment about anything we talked about today down in the comments here on YouTube, because sometimes I go through comments on YouTube and I bring them back for future shows. So I am an engaging host. I want you to engage with me, and you never know when you'll be participating in the next number 2 show. Until next time, I'm your host, Rafe Williams. Always sit down to poop and always wipe front to back. See ya.